Okay, hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about more story of Shang Yang, about his death and the influences he made after his death for China, almost during 2,000 years. Okay, let's go. 10 years after Shang Yang's new laws were implemented, historical records describe Qin as a place where no one picked up lost items on the road, and there were no bandits in the mountains, and households were well off. The people were brave in public battles, but cowardly in private fights, and the villages were well governed. But why was the effect so good? In fact, the first law Shang Yang issued after coming to power was the implementation of the Baojia system and the collective responsibility law. At the grassroots level, Shang Yang decreed that commoners were to be organized by household, with 5 families forming a Bao and 10 households being linked. If one person committed a crime, the entire group would be held responsible. Those who did not report the crime would be executed by being cut in half of the wrist, and those who harbored criminals would be treated as traitors. Informants, however, would be rewarded as if they had captured an enemy soldier. The reason why Qin state could achieve no one picked up lost items on the road, there were no bandits in the mountains, were precisely this. Under such laws, everyone became a spy and a policeman, and mutual surveillance and reporting among neighbors became the norm. According to historical records, Shang Yang once executed more than 700 prisoners in a single day by the banks of the Wei River in Shanxi province. The so-called brave in public battles but cowardly in private fights meant that people only fought for the monarch, not for themselves. Only killed foreigners, not fellow of Qin citizens, and only killed for high official positions and great wealth, not for small personal gains. Undoubtedly, Shang Yang was a ruthless prime minister. When the new laws were first implemented, there was much discussion throughout the Qin state, and thousands of people came to the capital to complain. Initially, Shang Yang reasoned with them, but later he simplified, enforced his policies with an iron fist. Whether people spoke against the new laws or in favor of them, he labeled them as troublemakers and exiled them to the border regions. As a result, Shang Yang was satisfied. After that, no one dared to say anything. Shang Yang not only forbade discussions of his laws, but also did not allow any discussion at all. In his mind, the people had obligations, but no rights. They were merely tools and weapons for the monarch to achieve hegemony and empire. In other words, men were tools for labor in peacetime and weapons of war in wartime, while women were machines for producing these tools and weapons. If that was the case, what was there to discuss? Just to follow orders and carry them out. This was the so-called Shang Yang reforms. From then on, Qin state had a dictatorial monarch at the top, a multitude of commoners at the bottom, and a bureaucratic apparatus in the middle, with armies, spies, and policemen everywhere, turning Qin state into a quasi-empire with centralized power and military dictatorship. 14 years after Shang Yang's death, King Hui of Qin state ascended to the throne and called himself as the king instead of the duke, and Qin became increasingly powerful, embarking on a path to continuous annexation and expansion. 104 years later, Yin Zheng eliminated the last 6 major states of the Warring States period. To commemorate his achievements and prestige, he combined the title of sovereign and king together, becoming the first emperor in Chinese history. So Chinese people call emperor Huangdi. This word is made by Yin Zheng. That means emperor. Shang Yang helped Qin state become the most powerful state of its time, but he himself met a tragic end after Duke Xiao of Qin state, who had heavily relied on Shang Yang, passed away. The crown prince, who later became King Hui of Qin state, ascended to the throne. Many powerful ministers and nobles, even that crown prince whom Shang Yang had offended, including the new king, prepared to take revenge on him. At this time, 2 officials whom Shang Yang had punished accused him of plotting rebellion. Shang Yang ultimately died by the very laws he had created. The punishment was 车裂, that means tearing apart by horses. The method involved tying ropes to the head and limbs of the convict, attaching the other ends to horses, and then whipping the horse simultaneously, causing the convict's body to be torn apart. Shang Yang was executed by this brutal method, which he had invented for punishing criminals. And the execution was carried out publicly in a market square. And was there any evidence to support the accusation that Shang Yang plotted rebellion? None. According to historical records, the charge was Shang Jun wanted to rebel. What does mean wanted to rebel? Now, he wanted to rebel in his mind. How can you prove that someone is thinking? You can't. Nobody can. Do you need evidence? No. In other words, it was a fabricated accusation. But could a fabricated accusation still stand? Yes, because when Shang Yang encouraged mutual reporting among neighbors, in the civilians, among neighbors and civilians, he never required evidence. Now did he stipulate that false accusers would be held legally accountable. It's not hard to guess that under Shang Yang's rule, there were numerous cases of false accusations and forced confessions. In the end, it was his turn. After being falsely accused, Shang Yang knew there was no way to defend himself. So he tried to flee. But when he reached the Qing's border, he couldn't find an inn to stay. The innkeeper said that Shang Jun, that means Shang Yang, had decreed that all guests must present travel permits or any papers can prove, like passports or identifications documents in the nowadays. If they didn't have them, they couldn't be accommodated. If someone violated this rule and the guest happened to be a criminal or suspect, then whatever crime or punishment the guest was subject to, the innkeeper would also face the same crime and punishment. This was the Shangjun law, which stated those who harbor guests without verification will be held responsible, also known as collective punishment. The innkeeper had no idea the guest was Shang Yang, and naturally, Shang Yang did not dare to present any documents. So he sighed deeply and said, "I never thought the flaws in the laws I created would come to this and come to me." With no way out, Shang Yang tried to escape to the state of Wei. But the Wei people sent him back to Qing territory because the Wei state also are threatened by Qing states. He then fled to his fiefdom in Shang, but King Hui of Qin sent troops to eliminate him. As a rebel, he was killed by the Qing army in his fiefdom, and his body was brought back to Qin and publicly torn apart by horses, by 车裂, that punishment called 车裂 in Chinese. Although Shang Yang died by the laws he created, the root cause of the tragedy was not the rule of law itself, but the problems with Qing's laws. What were the problems? The law only served to maintain the monarch's rule and did not protect the rights of the people. The reason is that Shang Yang's laws were the king's laws, and his way was the way of hegemony. The king's laws did not include the concept of civil rights, and the way of hegemony did not uphold the principle of innocent until proven guilty. Therefore, it is not enough to assume that reform is always good. One must also consider for whom the reform is made, what is being reformed, and how the reform is carried out. Similarly, one should not assume that legislation is inherently good. One must also consider for whom the laws are made, what laws are enacted, and how they are implemented. Without understanding these fundamental issues, just simply saying enforce the law impartially and strictly is inadequate and insufficient. The fact that Qing state could emerge victorious in the intense competition of the warring states period can only be attributed to the fact that they had the most effective system for that era. Or rather, they built and utilized this new system most thoroughly. This new system was able to maximize concentration of domestic resources and wealth, stimulate the production potential, and combat courage of the populace, and maintain collective discipline and unity. This allowed Qing state to dominate, eventually unifying the country of China. The advance of Qing's army into the Century Plains was accompanied by a bloody storm, and the guarantee of Qing's later success was the strict enforcement of several laws. The harshness of Qing's governance, the severity of Qing's laws, the authoritarian nature of Qing's system, and the strength of Qing's assets and undisputed facts in Chinese history. Qing was a stronghold of autocracy and militarism, and the founder of this stronghold was Shang Yang. Shang Yang succeeded. He transformed Qin from a duchy with the rank of duke into a kingdom, and paved the way for this kingdom to become an empire. He also set the tone for the centralized imperial system that would be followed by subsequent Chinese dynasties. Okay, that's all we have talked about in this video. If you like it, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and in the following videos let me talk more interesting Chinese histories. Hope you can like it. See you guys.